Hello, my name is Ava Wilk. I'm slightly sick right now, so that's why I sound like this. But I need to present my PowerPoint, so we're gonna do that. So welcome to my presentation of I Know What You Wrote Last Summer. Challenging conventions genre. This film has technically three genres, if you count the last two to be the same thing. That being comedy, mystery, and thriller. Now, the clip you'll be seeing is mostly focused on the comedy, since the way we'll be breaking conventions, if we had done a whole film, was that the beginning bits would have been mostly just focused on the comedy, but the further the film goes, the more it becomes a mystery and a thriller instead of being a comedy. It was also going to challenge conventions by having the main character being killed off at the last minutes of our beginning scene that you watched. However, due to time constraints, we were not able to include that in our final film. Challenging conventions representing society. Due to how outlandish our whole entire film is, we couldn't really connect it to representing society. There are a few things though, but they can seem kind of far-fetched. We do have a semi-diverse cast. You could say that the film is showing the horrors of being blackmailed through the text messages that our main character gets sent. You could also say it shows how some real-life authors, like the lady who wrote 50 Shades of Grey, for an example, based their writing initially off of fan fiction and then published their own book off of it, which is what inspired our main character, obviously. Engagement with the audience. The main way of engagement is through the interesting and original plot that our story holds, that being an inspiring author trying to make their way through the world only to be killed and having their best friend having to look into their disappearance and murder. Other ways of engaging with the audience is through the comedic aspects of the dialogue and while you didn't get to see it in the clip if it was the full film, the horror aspects to keep the audience fearful of what's going to happen next, but also intrigued to wanting to know what will happen next. Distribution. Distribution first comes in the form of advertisements. This could be in billboards with the posters on it, along with either plain ads, like picture ads, think of a poster again, or video ads that can either be played on television during shows or movies, or it can be played on social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and X, that was formerly known as Twitter. You can also use sponsorships with bigger companies, think like Coca-Cola, or they sometimes put things on their cans, or through restaurants like at IHOP when the Lorax movie made by Illumination came out. They made a deal with IHOP to have a specialty menu for their film, based around their film. Distribution Part 2. Access to the film for the public. Movie theaters are the main first place to go. While it has been shown that there's been a dropped rate of people going to movie theaters, there are still those who go to the theater to see films. There's also streaming services such as Netflix, HBO Max, and Disney Plus, where you can sign a deal with the owners of those companies so they can show your film. And when you're working with the streaming service, they are also likely to show your the film through advertisement because they want to make money from having your film on their repertoire list. How did I grow as a filmmaker? Now, my focus was mostly on the acting, and while I have a large background in theater, that doesn't mean I didn't learn anything at all through this project. I learned how to work with scheduling issues that could come up by working in a large group. My group had 4 people, but also for one section in the school theater, we had to make sure we were allowed into the theater to record our things, but also we needed to work our schedules with our teacher as well, who was playing the TV host. I also learned the difficulty of keeping scenes consistent. Now, you can't see me right now because I am sick, but normally I don't wear glasses, however my character does. And often in between shots and scenes, I would take them off because we had to review them for a few minutes, see if we wanted to keep them or not. And then on occasion I'd forget to put them back on, which did cause a lot of mess and issues. But, you learn not to do that again after you've done it like 5 times. So, I did learn something from this experience. Technology I used. Blogger was our main form of writing down the entries for what we did day to day or few days of a week so that you knew how we were managing our time. Now, I will make a little bit of fun of myself, of course, because you see, I'm not very smart sometimes, and I would forget to do my blog posts. So a lot of the blog posts you see, I made after the fact. Thankfully, I have a good memory of what happened, because otherwise, it would not be as good. But I did eventually fill it out, so good on me. I'm so proud of myself. We also used a few other forms of technology, such as Google Docs, which was used to write our script, and then there was also the phone. Mostly we used Ava's phone, I believe that's a Samsung Note 20 Ultra. We used it to record every single section of our film since we did not have a professional camera. And then we also used Ava's laptop, which was used for editing the film together along with using it to record lines. When I say record lines, I mean specifically the lines of the publisher at the very beginning of the film, and then during the phone call, the friend of the main character, her lines were also pre-recorded since we didn't want her talking in the room in between. So that's the reason we used a recording of the lines. So that makes sense. And then, I forgot that I gave some of these transitions, but here are all the photos that we have of our working on the film, and right in the center you can see the poster or the drawing of the imaginary book that was written by our main character. This is also the last slide, and I thank you for listening to my very sickly voice explaining what I learned, how this film would work out, distribution and all that. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and have a nice rest of your day.